Remember that my goal in any equation is to get a particular variable by itself. So here it's going to tell me which variable. So I'm going to solve for d. Okay, here's d. So I need to get d by itself on one side of the equation, and I need to remove everything else from that side of the equation. So I'm going to leave d on the right side. The d is not going to move. Here's my equal sign. The equal sign is not going to move. My goal is to get rid of everything else that's on this side. So if I look and I see, okay, what else is on the same side as the d? There's this c being added to d, and there's this 2, which is c plus d is being divided by 2. So what I remember from equations with this kind of structure is this is like parentheses. I really can't touch anything inside of it until I get rid of this divided by 2. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply by 2 in order to get rid of this divided by 2. So I'm multiplying by 2, multiplying by 2. 2 times q is 2q equals, and what's left over here, right? This is divided by 2, multiplied by 2, that cancels, is c plus d. Now remember, I'm trying to get d by itself. That is my goal. I'm leaving d here, and I'm getting rid of everything else. So I need to get rid of this c. This c is being added to d, so I'm going to subtract c. And so d equals 2q minus c. And that's my answer. D is by itself, therefore I solved for d. Okay. Oftentimes you'll see it written in the other order, d equals. That's the same. Okay, this is totally fine. This is also great. Okay, next one. Solve for w. Here's w. Here's my equal sign. I'm going to leave the w over here on the right side of the equal sign, and I'm going to get rid of everything else on the right side of the equal sign besides the w. So first I notice there's this 2L right here. Now, just like when I move like for example, sometimes when I have an equation like this where it's like, I don't know, I'm just making one up here, like this, right? And I have x's on both sides, I would subtract 2x to get rid of this whole term, right? I don't divide here, I subtract to get rid of the whole term. That's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to subtract 2L. And look, this is a cursive L. I'm just writing it as a cursive L here so it doesn't look like a 1. This is actually, if you recognize it, it's the perimeter formula for a rectangle. 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. Okay, so I'm subtracting p minus 2L equals 2w. So now I've gotten rid of this. Now what do I still need to do to get the w by itself? Well, w is being multiplied by 2, so I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to divide by 2. So here's what this looks like. P minus 2L over 2 equals w. And I'm all set. W is by itself. And I'm done. Okay, again, sometimes you'll see it written in the other order where it's like w equals. The other thing that you might see sometimes, actually, nope, scratch that. You might see it written in this order. Nothing else to add. Okay, this one's also good. Okay, this one's great. That one's also great. All right, solve for x. Here we go. I'm gonna get my camera set up here. I'm solving for x. I need to get x by itself. What's happening to x? It's being multiplied by b, and it's being multiplied by 1/2. Okay, this is tricky. You might think, oh, well, easy, I just divide, no problem. You're right, let's start by dividing by 1/2. How do we divide by 1/2? Like if I'm gonna do 5 divided by 1/2, how do I do that? Well, remember when I divide by fractions, what I do is I multiply by the reciprocal. So I multiply by the flipped fraction. Now, 2 over 1 is just 2. So in order to get rid of 1/2, what I do is I multiply by 2. Okay. I'm going to talk about this more in a second. I'm multiplying by 2. If I want to get rid of multiplying by 1/2, I'm dividing by 1/2. Dividing by 1/2 is the same as multiplying by 2. Okay, it's the same as multiplying by 2. Okay, so watch. I'm going to get 2a equals bx. Okay, think about what this means. This says, let's say I had something like this. Look, 10 is 1/2 of x. Right? Then like just think about what this means. Like what's x? Like if 10 is half of x, what's x? Oh, x is 20, right? 10 is half of 20. Okay, so it makes sense that I'm multiplying by 2 on both sides. I would get 20 equals x using that same strategy. All right, but for right now, I'm trying to get x by itself. Okay, and I'm going to say, oh, x is being multiplied by b, so I'm going to divide by b. Okay, so I have 2a divided by b equals x. And I'm done. Okay, so notice here when I had a 1 over 2, I multiplied by 2. Down here, when you have a 1 over 3, you'll multiply by 3 to get rid of that 3. Okay, last one. Now, this last one is actually super interesting because it actually turns out to apply to something that we do next unit. Okay, and to this particular structure of an equation turns out to be really important next unit. But for right now, let's just focus on what we've been doing. It says solve for y. Here's y. I want to get y by itself. I'm keeping y where it is on the left side of the equation. I want to get rid of everything else. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides. I'm going to bring down 5y equals. Now, these are not like terms. I'm not combining them. This is negative 4x plus 15. Okay, now y is almost by itself, but it's still being multiplied by 5. So I'm going to divide by 5. Okay, I'm dividing by 5. Okay, now I'm also dividing by 5. Look, notice how I'm doing this. Okay, I'm actually dividing by 5 to each term here. Okay, I'm doing it to each term. So y equals negative 4 divided by 5. That doesn't divide evenly. It doesn't. So I'm just going to leave it as negative. Negative divided by positive is negative. 4 over 5. I'm leaving it as a fraction, x. Okay, I'm leaving it like this because it doesn't divide evenly. This divides evenly though. This is positive 15 divided by 5, and that's 3. Okay, and this is my answer. And this structure of an equation may look familiar to you. Don't worry about it for now. For now, we're just focused on doing what's in front of us.